This extremely arrogant eunuch before us is the infamous leader of the Western Depot, Chief Reign Huatian. During the Chenghua period of the Ming Dynasty, the emperor was incompetent, and eunuchs wielded power recklessly. The court was divided into the Eastern and Western bureaus. The Eastern Bureau was responsible for investigating court officials, holding the lives of civil and military officials in their hands. The Western Bureau, also known as the Imperial Secret Service, gathered intelligence for the emperor. Yu Huatian's audacity stems not only from his position as the head of the Western Depot but also from the deep favor he enjoys from the imperial concubine. As her trusted confidant, he eliminates palace maids involved with the emperor to ease her worries. The Western Bureau will never allow anyone in the palace to secretly bear the emperor's child. He then reported to the empress that recently 4 palace maids were found pregnant with the emperor's child, and 3 of them have already been At this moment, Su Huirong, who was fleeing, was hiding on a boat, planning to take the opportunity to leave the city. Unexpectedly, the soldiers had already discovered her whereabouts and stopped the boat to search everyone. Seeing this, Su Huirong quickly threw the pouch she brought from the palace into the water. However, the quick-witted soldiers retrieved the pouch and brought Su Huirong before the head of the Western Depot. Just as the soldier's blade was about to pierce Su Huirong's abdomen, a figure in black descended from the sky, severing the soldier's arm with a single strike. The figure then swiftly dealt with the approaching soldiers. However, these soldiers were not the main target. The figure raised the blade towards the third in command. Their swordplay was unpredictable, but the figure in black was clearly superior. Soon, the figure disarmed the third in command and, moments later, plunged the sword into his abdomen. Seeing the third gear cooperate so well, the man in black decided to let him go. Hearing this name, Sandang was stunned on the spot because this person was the imperial criminal that both the Eastern and Western factories were desperately trying to capture. Not long ago, 3 loyal officials risked their lives to impeach Wang Yulo, the head of the Eastern factory, for corruption. Unexpectedly, Wang Yulo learned of this in advance and arrested them. In front of all the civil and military officials, he threatened to cut out their tongues. At the critical moment, Zhao Huayan stepped forward and with a few punches, forced Wang Yulo into a retreat. Wang Yulo, losing his arrogance, fled in panic to the mezzanine upstairs. However, Zhao Huayan quickly blocked his path. Wang Yulo wanted to fight back, but Zhao Huayan's swordsmanship was dazzling and elusive. With a few swift strikes, Zhao Huayan shredded his outer garment and pierced his protective armor, ultimately killing him under the watchful eyes of the officials. His head was then hung above the city gate. The Eastern Depot began to fully pursue Zhao Huayan. What the 3 captains didn't know was that the person in front of them, disguised as a man, was not Zhao Huayan. The real Zhao Huayan was hiding with his companions, observing everything clearly. Why not meet? Zhao Huayan indeed knew the female warrior named Ling Yanqiu from before. Ling Yanqiu pretended to be Zhao Huayan and acted heroically to lure him out to meet her. On the other side, the third in command reported to Huatian about encountering Zhao Huayan. Unexpectedly, the person whom the Eastern Depot couldn't find despite all efforts was found by the Western Depot. Yu Huatian, of course, wouldn't miss this chance to outshine the Eastern Depot, so he immediately decided to personally go after him. They also analyzed the direction in which the 2 fled. The next day, Yu Huatian took a boat to Longmen. Unexpectedly, Zhao Huayan and his companions attacked on the way. However, this time, they clearly underestimated their opponent. The seemingly unremarkable man in front of them was 100 times more ferocious than any previous adversary. He effortlessly blocked all their attacks. Just as the words left his mouth, the sail fell. Realizing the danger, Yu Huatian swiftly leaped into action. The 2 introduced themselves and then began to fight. Zhao Huayan was highly skilled, but Yu Huatian was a master among masters. As their swords clashed fiercely, the ropes on the boat were shredded. Witnessing Zhao Huayan's martial arts, Yu Huatian no longer held back and used his 3-bladed sword. The sharp blade split into 3 and thrust directly at Zhao Huayan. Despite Zhao Huayan's exceptional skills, he was ultimately outmatched and quickly lost the opportunity to attack. On the other side, 2 companions were at a disadvantage in their fight against Ma Jinliang. Ma Jinliang, wielding dual blades, quickly injured one of them and then stabbed the other in the abdomen. At the critical moment, Zhao Huayan intervened to help. Seeing this, Ma Jinliang swiftly fled the scene. Just as they were about to retreat, Ma Jinliang returned with his blade. To ensure Zhao Huayan's safe escape, one companion sacrificed his life to buy time. Zhao Huayan had no choice but to take the other companion and quickly dive into the water to escape. Zhao Huayan's appearance this time is to expose himself, allowing Ling Yanqiu to avoid being hunted. However, Yu Huatian doesn't care because he has decided to play a bigger game. He plans to use Su Huirong to lure them out and capture Zhao Huayan. Ling Yanqiu and Su Huirong have arrived at the Dragon Gate located in the desert.
要么吃白肉，第一次来啊！
对不住，弄错了。
什么是白肉？人肉。
Ling Yanqiu seemed to know the rules here very well. Faced with the brutality of the black shop, she remained calm, but Su Huirong was already terrified and at a loss. Soon, the waiter prepared 2 bowls of plain noodles for them, but they had already disappeared. It turned out that the second and third heads of the Western factory had arrived here. They sent a man named Lu Bu to gather information. Unexpectedly, before he could finish speaking, he was mocked by someone nearby.
你娘亲是贱人，禽兽都不如啊！
Before the Western Bureau agents could react, the woman with the shoes directly engages in a fierce battle with the second in command. Both aim to kill each other, fighting intensely around a table. Despite their efforts, neither can gain the upper hand. Just as a brutal fight is about to break out, the innkeeper steps in to mediate.
江湖人过两招不会记仇来，你们
To resolve the conflict, he greeted the other person in fluent Chinese, avoiding a fight.
我个面子重不重啊？
Suffering such a great humiliation, the Western Depot would never let it go. Later, the second in command sent his men to the kitchen to force the staff to poison the drinks. At this moment, Ling Yanqiu and Su Huirong were hiding outside. Upon hearing the Western Depot's malicious plan, Su Huirong screamed in fear. To avoid exposure, Ling Yanqiu immediately took her to a distant place and pulled a chain from the yellow sand. A small door opened, revealing a huge underground cave. However, despite their carefulness, Su Huirong's sachet fell near the inn. The second in command discovered it and immediately ordered a thorough search of the inn, but nothing was found. In the evening, the poisoned wine arranged by the second in command was served one after another to the tables. Watching them drink heartily, the second in command was very pleased. But to his surprise, the people showed no signs of poisoning. Meanwhile, Lu Bu beside him was already foaming at the mouth.
我家主人说，下毒要跟你妈妈学。要家伙！
As soon as these words were spoken, both groups drew their weapons. Just as a major battle was about to begin, the inn's door was kicked open.
他未必就是毒。
As soon as these 2 heroes entered the door, the people from the Western Bureau were stunned into silence because the man in front of them looked exactly like Yu Huatian. To confirm his identity, the second in command sent someone to Yu Huatian's location to see if he was still there. The second in command thought he had everything under control, but he never expected that everyone else in the inn, apart from the Western Bureau's people, was in on it together. They gathered here from all over the country thanks to a man who looks like Yu Huatian. He is nicknamed Windblade and makes a living selling information in the underworld. According to him, this place was the capital of the Great White Kingdom, Heishui City, 300 years ago. At that time, the Mongols besieged the city for a year, leaving only 108 warriors. To prevent the Mongols from looting, they sealed all the gold in the palace and then committed mass suicide. Heishui City was buried by sandstorms overnight. Miraculously, every 60 years since then, a black storm sweeps through, and when it subsides, the palace and its countless treasures emerge from the ground. These people are here to seize the palace's gold during the upcoming black storm. However, the arrival of the Xichang agents has disrupted their plans. Can handle the people from the Western Bureau, it's not an easy task, but the meticulous shopkeeper noticed that the second in command became extremely fearful when he saw Feng Lidao. He even acted submissively towards him. So, the shopkeeper speculated that the people from the Western Bureau must have mistaken Feng Lidao for someone else. Since that's the case, why not play along and let Feng Lidao find out their purpose? Although Feng Lidao was reluctant, he had no choice but to take the risk for the gold.
龙门客栈什么地方？还记不记得我派你来又是干什么的？
Under the relentless questioning of Feng Lidao, the second and third leaders revealed their plan. Meanwhile, Ling Yanqiu and Su Huirong were hiding in a cave, eavesdropping. Accidentally, they made a noise, alerting the people outside who were discussing. Without hesitation, they broke into the cave, intending to drag out the people inside. Seeing no way to hide, Ling Yanqiu stepped forward and took Gu Xiaoding hostage.
熟悉这里的地形。
是他，白天见到那2个，一个是他，还有一个。
Upon realizing her true identity was exposed, Ling Yanqiu immediately took action. It turns out that Ling Yanqiu had stayed at Dragon Gate Inn in the past for gold. Later, she developed genuine feelings for Zhao Huayan, but it didn't work out, leaving her disheartened and causing her to leave the inn. As the two were fiercely fighting, Yu Huatian learned that someone in the inn was impersonating him. He decisively chose to play along, pretending to be Feng Lidao to infiltrate and capture them all. To prevent their subordinates from confusing friend and foe, they established a code.
下一句是便知真假。
After receiving the signal, the subordinates rushed back to report to the second leader. Unexpectedly, Zhao Huayan had been hiding under their horses all along. Seizing the right moment, he jumped down and immediately found.
你是风里道，买卖江湖消息的，我跟你交易过。
Zhao Huayan told Feng Lidao that his identity had been exposed and informed him of the secret signal set by Yu Huatian. He warned that Yu Huatian would definitely send someone to kill him. The only way to survive was to fight against Yu Huatian. Seeing the situation, Feng Lidao reluctantly agreed. After reaching an agreement, they went to the cave and saw Ling Yanqiu and Gu Xiaodong fighting. The moment Ling Yanqiu saw Zhao Huayan, she got distracted and was attacked by Gu Xiaodong. Zhao Huayan immediately went to help her.
破晓，我们将计就计。
Realizing it was all a misunderstanding, they decided to unite against their common enemy and eliminate Rain Huatian and the West Factory's people. First, they used the antidote to threaten the poison Lubu. Then, have Feng Lidao impersonate Yu Huatian and inform the West Factory's subordinates that Lubu has betrayed them. While they interrogate Lubu, send the staff to spread the news that a woman and Gu Xiaodong are fighting over Feng Lidao, causing a huge brawl and threatening to burn down the inn. Upon hearing this, the second-in-command will lead his men out of the inn, and the innkeeper will take the opportunity to steal the official uniforms. Moments later, everyone will change into the stolen uniforms. Surrounded by his men, Feng Lidao, disguised as Yu Huatian, approached. But before the second-in-command could utter the secret code, Feng Lidao preemptively said, Long Men Feijia, revealing the truth. This trick successfully deceived the second-in-command. Feng Lidao then informed them that they had fallen for a diversion tactic. When the second-in-command returned to the inn, it was empty. At this moment, the third-in-command suddenly realized that their official uniforms had been stolen. Only then did the second-in-command understand that the inspector outside was an imposter. But it was too late. Feng Lidao and his men had already left. Meanwhile, the real Yu Huatian was slowly approaching them.
假，还来？假，假你祖宗！放！
The second-in-command went berserk, shooting arrows wildly at Ma Jinliang, who had come to exchange secret codes. The reinforcements were caught off guard and quickly lost half their men. Yu Huatian, being ruthless, immediately ordered a counterattack. Seeing the chaos among the Western Depot's own men, Zhao Huayan and his group realized it was the perfect time to strike. The first to move was Gu Xiaodong, who charged into the battlefield with the Guanyu sword, confronting Ma Jinliang. Although Gu Xiaodong appeared formidable, he quickly fell behind after a few exchanges. Just as Ma Jinliang was about to deliver a fatal blow, Zhao Huayan intervened, swiftly overpowering Ma Jinliang and slashing off his mask with a single stroke. Ma Jinliang, seeing his true face exposed, lost his mind and lunged at Zhao Huayan, only to be pierced in the forehead by a sword. The woman and Gu Xiaodong joined forces to kill the second-in-command. Yu Huatian, seeing his trusted subordinates all die by their hands, was furious. He drew the sword of a nearby subordinate and broke it with his inner strength. The shattered pieces flew out, killing. He then approached Zhao Huayan. From their last encounter, Zhao Huayan had learned and prepared a chain to counter Yu Huayo's three-bladed sword. However, against the unpredictable sword techniques, he could only defend. Meanwhile, the black storm was approaching, and the entire sky was covered with dark clouds. Yet, Yu Huayu and Zhao Huayan were still evenly matched. Due to a change in the wind, Yu Huayo's three-bladed sword slipped and cut a wound on his own face.
相逢勇者胜。李花田，不但才遇到龙卷风里分胜负。
Yu Huatian, now blinded by rage, followed Zhao Huayan's steps. Together, they walked into the tornado. As the black storm gradually subsided, the buried palace emerged. Seeing this, everyone rushed in, eager to claim the treasures inside. However, Yu Huatian and Zhao Huayan were blown into the palace by the tornado first.
臭宫女就把一帮臭人引来这里，还有你这个张图鼠目不伦不类的，还敢帮我？最臭的就是你。
Yu Huatian leaps with his sword to kill Feng Lidao. Gu Xiaodong rushes forward and saves Feng Lidao, but ends up in Yu Huatian's grasp. In an hour, another black storm will strike. By then, the palace will be buried in sand again. The few people gathered here are all in it for the money. To prevent Yu Huatian from ruining the original plan, Gu Xiaodong decisively chose to bring him into the fold. How many of you are not here for the money? These words convinced Yu Huatian, but he still didn't trust the people present. To achieve cooperation, everyone decided to keep Yu Huatian. Gu Xiaodong, Zhao Huayan, and another person stayed to supervise each other, while the rest moved the gold out. Just as they finished the first round and were about to return, Su Huirong suddenly drew her sword and fiercely stabbed Ling Yanqiu.
你是花田派来的细作。
It turns out that Su Huirong is not a palace made pregnant with the emperor's child, but a spy planted by Yu Huatian. The sachets she dropped along the way were to leave marks for the people of the Western Depot, guiding them to the whereabouts of Zhao Huayan and others.
你都比不上。现在我去杀了赵怀安。
Su Huirong turned and ran towards the palace. To prevent them from following her, she scattered extremely sharp Western golden silkworm threads along the way. After returning to the palace, she pretended to be panicked and told Zhao Huayan that people outside were fighting over gold. Acting weak, she hid behind Zhao Huayan, intending to launch a sneak attack. However, Zhao Huayan had already seen through her intentions. You are so afraid of Yu Huatian. Aren't you afraid he'll catch you if you come in again? Seeing her plan exposed, Su Huirong's expression changed immediately. She attacked Zhao Huaiyan with golden silk, but Zhao Huaiyan quickly and easily deflected it. I'll kill you, you heartless man. Meanwhile, outside, the second black storm was approaching. If they didn't leave the palace immediately, they would all be buried underground with the gold. To quickly evacuate the people inside, the strong man lifted a wooden tower and smashed a hole in the palace roof. Zhao Huaiyan instructed Gu Xiaodang to climb out along the wooden tower, while he himself was prepared to stay and perish with Yu Huatian. As Gu Xiaodang climbed the tower, he noticed Su Huirong following behind. She threw a flag in front of her to test the situation, and indeed, the wooden tower was covered with golden silkworm threads. Gu Xiaodang then leaped into the air and threw several flying knives. Su Huirong blocked each attack, but she never expected Gu Xiaodang's throwing knife to change direction through the ring. Before she could react, the knife hit her, causing her to fall from the wooden tower and be cut into pieces by her own golden silk threads. On the other side, Yu Huatian and Zhao Huaiyan began their final battle. To avoid being restrained by the three-bladed sword, Zhao decisively knocked away Yu's weapon. Ling Yanqiu, worried about Zhao fighting alone, jumped into the palace to assist. Unexpectedly, Yu charged at her, launching a sudden attack. Facing Yu's frenzied assault, Ling gradually fell into a disadvantage. At this moment, Zhao arrived but was stabbed in the chest by Yu. Enduring the pain, Zhao seized the opportunity and delivered a series of kicks to Yu. Following this, Ling unleashed a dazzling flurry of shurikens, successfully ending Yu's life. The group then left the palace as the Black Storm arrived on schedule. Moments later, the palace vanished, and the desert returned to its calm state. After these events, Ling Yanqiu let go of her obsession with Zhao Huaiyan.
此别无需任何牵挂，你就跟他说我逍遥远去，就这样。
Ling Yanqiu rides away from the desert on horseback. When Zhao Huaiyan woke up, he finally realized that he had long been in love with Ling Yanqiu. So, he set out to pursue her. Gu Xiaodang decided to stay in the desert to rebuild the Dragon Gate Inn, waiting for Zhao Huaiyan and Ling Yanqiu to return together. Meanwhile, Feng Lidao, along with a woman, entered the palace to continue impersonating Yu Huatian, seeking an opportunity to poison and eliminate the ruthless concubine, thus saving the lives of all the palace maids.